Throughout the past 11 years, Apple has slowly been taking over the music industry, and have now become so successful, with over 15,000 songs being downloaded online every minute. What we want to find out is what people really think about Apple, and whether they prefer digital or physical download copies, especially with the rebirth of the vinyls. Throughout this short 10-minute documentary, we will be discussing the ins and outs of what Apple has done to the music industry, and whether they've destroyed physical copy stores like Blockbuster and HMV, as well as other independent record labels. Online film rentals have escalated rapidly over the past few years, with iTunes being a large contender in this market alongside its music services, offering buyable and rental films and TV programs which can be streamed instantly without leaving your own home. Many believe that Apple is to blame for the closing of many video and music stores like HMV and Blockbuster, although due to other online streaming services like Netflix and Now TV, these also contributed heavily to companies' downfalls. Since being founded in 1985, Blockbuster's last 91 remaining stores closed of December 2013. HMV, which was founded in 1921, has now had all of its stores in Germany and Ireland closed. Could this be an effect of iTunes and its online rentals? We will also be conducting interviews, asking whether people believe that vinyls are making a comeback, and whether the CD will do the same in coming years. We'll also be finding out whether these people buy physical copies or stick to online downloads. But what do you think? With a company value of $415 billion and over 600 million iOS devices sold, Apple is now the most valuable company in the world. We interviewed Robbie, a music tutor and Apple guru, about what he thinks about digital downloads and whether these things will be slowed down with the rebirth of the vinyls. We also found out his views on physical copies and the future of the CD format. Do you think eventually there will be no physical copies of music and everything will be digital downloads on iTunes?
I think there's some interesting things happening in music at the moment. There's a real resurgence in vinyl. With most vinyl copies now, is you're getting an MP3 download free with the actual copy of the vinyl. So I predict that CD will disappear before vinyl will disappear, and that people will either have it in a digital format, or if they like the kind of retro thing and they like the sound of vinyl, that they'll purchase it on a vinyl disc.
Does that mean that you prefer physical or digital downloads, and why?
A bit of both. I mean, I'm on Spotify. I use Spotify to kind of browse music. So I kind of use Spotify as a way to find out what I'm like and what I'm interested in, what's new stuff that's been released. But then I still buy a lot of physical formats. I bought 2 double vinyl LPs on Saturday. One of the best things about the resurgence in vinyl is everything's 180 milligram vinyl. It's a lot thicker, it's a lot better quality than it was when it kind of died out in the 80s. So I think there's a real resurgence going on, you know.
Do you think CDs will eventually make a comeback as a retro style like the vinyl's doing at the moment?
No, I actually predict that CDs won't exist at all in several years' time. I think it will be either a vinyl format or a digital format. I don't think there'll be any need for CDs. As soon as you get away with or do away with kind of having to have a physical kind of disc in a car, because I think a lot of people still buy music because they've got CD players in their car, so they still buy or burn onto the CDs to be able to play that. You know, I think it'll always be around. I think you'll always have CDs, and some people are like physical copies, but I think it's the majority of it will go to be digital downloads.
Yeah. So Robbie seems to be on the fence with online downloads and also physical copies, with him believing that vinyls are going to make a comeback, whereas CDs will slowly go out of fashion until they no longer exist. Do you agree with Robbie?
95% of people that we asked out of a 20-person survey said that they use Apple products, and especially iTunes, which is a massive contribution towards online downloading. With this, are people's values for music being lowered and appreciated less? A few years ago, people would go down to the local dealerships and and ask around, looking for new music and artists. But now, since everything's online downloads, it appears like the limelight's being stolen by larger artists who already have all the recognition they need, leaving smaller artists right at the bottom of the music pool. Mikey Marks is an independent artist, tells us the difficulties of getting a name out there, and the problems with piracy, as well as illegal downloads.
So, we're joined with Michael Marks here. He is an independent artist, quite recent in the business. So, Mikey, we're going to ask you some questions about Apple and iTunes and the music industry and stuff. So, obviously you're an independent artist. Do you find it difficult getting music out there?
Yeah, it's more difficult as time goes on, really. More and more artists keep trying to put their songs on iTunes and Spotify, and it's getting harder and harder to sort of, get your music out there and get it to the right people so they can put it on iTunes and Spotify and things like that.
So would that mean that you prefer to release music digitally or physically as well, like vinyls?
Well, I don't know about vinyls, but probably CDs, definitely, still. But, yeah, apart from that.
So, have you released any music online for fans to listen to?
Not released as such. I'm sort of recording an EP at the moment that I hope to release, properly on iTunes, but I've put stuff on SoundCloud and stuff like that. So.
Have you had any troubles with I don't know if you've been in the iTunes scene? Have you ever tried to release anything on iTunes?
Nah, not yet. No, but I've heard it's hard. It's hard to get your stuff on there.
We continue to ask Mikey about iTunes affecting the music industry, illegal downloads, and iTunes kicking out music stores. So, Mikey, what are your opinions on iTunes and how it's affecting the music industry?
I think it's been quite good, actually. Obviously, you have to, pay for all the music. I think it's good how they've got the preview thing in it as well, so you can actually listen to about 30 seconds of the track before you can buy. So that's pretty cool because you can listen to the track, and I think 30 seconds is enough to know. Yeah, they pick a good bit of the track actually. I use that quite a lot when I buy my music. Yeah, I think it's a lot better than Spotify and things like that.
Do you use the other services like Amazon, MP3 and stuff?
Well, I don't use Amazon really. I don't really buy on get a physical copy. I don't really like to get physical copies. I sort of tend to buy the digital copies off iTunes. I use that more than Spotify as well because I don't like Spotify personally. But yeah, that's just me. I prefer to have the whole thing done without any adverts or paying monthly subscription. I like to have the thing forever and it'll be mine, sort of thing.
Alright, okay. Do you ever buy any physical copies of CDs or anything?
Yeah, but the music store in my local area is just shut down, so it's pretty hard to get stuff like that. I have to make a special trip, but it depends what CD it is. I usually only tend to buy physical copies if I really like the band or artists, so yeah.
So if you use digital downloads quite a bit, does that mean you use illegal sites to download music?
No, I don't tend to use illegal sites. I just get them off iTunes, so it's all legal.
Alright, okay. Do you think that vinyls are coming back as opposed to CDs? As CDs going out of fashion, do you think vinyls make a comeback?
See, I like vinyls because they're pretty cool. It gives it that sort of old retro sort of feel. I've still got a vinyl player myself, and I still play Bob Marley on it and stuff like that. So yeah, but I like vinyls just because it's original, it's your own thing. So.
Do you feel that Apple and iTunes have kind of kicked out physical music stores like HMV and stuff?
Yeah, because I think we're a bit lazy, so we don't tend to want to go up the shop and stuff, so it's nice to have that sort of thing where you can just click on your computer, just if you want to buy it, you just buy it straight there and then you don't have to go anywhere. But I think it shouldn't kick out HMV and stuff, or the music stores, because it's just not fair. I think it's nice to have, the physical copies still.
So how do you feel about the possibility of Apple and iTunes kicking out other services like HMV and also Blockbuster? Do you think it's fair, or do you think it's time people move on with new technologies and embrace online downloads? This has been just a bite of the apple, iTunes versus the music industry.